So welcome to Gabriel. He's a new member and he's jumping into the club activities. You all know Jean-Pierre. You all, I'm sure, know Carol, the famous Carol. And Janet, I think you all know Janet is in charge of the juniors scholarship program. Shirley is hiding from us, but Shirley, oh, there she is. Okay. Shirley's been helpful to me in the past a lot with the program committee. And next week, there's going to be an interesting program. I think it's called The Story of Susan's Story. And Shirley helped me connect to Susan. So thank you, Shirley, for that.
Great. I really do.
Yes, yes, I agree. And Joe Marie, congratulations on your upcoming position on the board.
Thank you, thank you.
Yep.
Very exciting.
Joe Marie is a longtime painter and member of the club. She's going to be joining the board of directors as the corresponding secretary.
Right. So you'll be hearing from me.
Kathleen, welcome. I don't know much about you. If you want to give us a few sentences, that'd be nice.
I'm a photographer, basically. I do collage also, but I joined the club about 2 years ago, and I've been in most of the shows, and that's me.
Okay, good to know.
Okay.
And Robin is a longtime member. She's a past board member. Was it the corresponding secretary position you had, Robin? Yes, and I got to know her very well. And I was saying to Robin, whenever I look at her or think of her, I think of the fun Halloween party we had before the pandemic. It was a lot of fun. So Elizabeth Myers, welcome. I'm not sure I know you, but if you want to introduce yourself, please.
Hi, Elizabeth.
I'm a painter primarily, and I've been in the club probably 5 or 6 years, and I'm in Southwestern Pennsylvania, but I'm also in New York a week a month because I have a tiny studio there as well. And I have loved these Zoom meetings and events. I was with the Halloween party on Zoom, and I've tried to make most of these. So it's been really nice to actually, I'm really bad with names. So to see people's names next to their faces has been great.
Okay, great. Thank you. And Irene, welcome. Would you be so kind to introduce yourself?
Oh, yes. Well, I'm Norwegian American. I go back and forth to Norway a lot. Not this year, though. And I exhibit overseas, and I exhibit here in New York City. I'm a painter mostly, and I do some 3D works too. And I make a lot of accordion books, drawings that are very long. So I made more than 50 books. So
Wow.
I had a long career in art.
Children's books or adult books?
No, they're like they've started as sketchbooks, but they really they're complete works of art, and I exhibited them in Venice in 2017.
Do you make your own books?
No, I don't.
Where do you buy them?
Well, I bought them. I first saw them at the Pearls in Pearl Paint.
Yeah.
2001, I think it was. And I thought they were very interesting. So I just tried, having fun with it. And then it just grew, and it was wonderful. Now it's not so easy finding these accordion books. But yeah.
Leslie, I believe you're an illustrator author also. Is that correct?
Yeah, but I think my husband might have bought one of your books. I'm looking for it now. It's like an art book, but he bought me this art book that was an accordion book, and I don't know, it was probably like $150 book. It was absolutely gorgeous with original art.
Yeah,
there was a lot of poetry, and it was about the author's husband's death. So it was very, sort of ethereal.
No, that's not me. That's someone else. I'm not the only one who does that.
I would have been felt really bad if it was like your, you know, your husband had passed away. It would be terrible.
Yeah.
So
So I'm a painter, and I do have a lot of different mediums. Right now, I just did a 4 foot by 6 foot oil painting diptych with cold wax, but I also just joined the Encaustic Art Institute in Santa Fe. And so I'm planning on putting some stuff out there. My daughter's now in Colorado, so you know, trying to move around a little bit and get some more shows. I'm in the at the Hammond Museum, and I'm studying conceptual art with Elizabeth Desmarais now at the Art Students League, which is very fun. You guys were talking about Zoom, and Zoom is a wonderful thing because you can study with people all over the world. So yeah, I'm very busy. Children's books also.
Where's the Hammond Museum?
Pardon?
Leslie, where's the Hammond Museum?
It's in North Salem, New York.
Oh,
Oh, I'm also in a show at, and I've never seen the space before, and I walked in and it's this amazing, huge old building, kind of reminds me of Brooklyn, but it's really nice, in White Plains. It's the Northern Westchester group of artists. We're having a show that'll be up till September, and it's also online.
great, great.
So yeah, I mean, busy, but it's always great to get, you know, information from people and to see what they're doing and what they're seeing, you know?
Okay. So Roger, welcome. Hello. Hi, Roger.
Hi, Bonnie.
So I'm not sure if everyone knows Roger, but Roger, tell everybody about yourself and your art and your plein air and your travels and all your good stuff.
Okay. Well, I became a member in 2007. I was still working for a very fine store on Fifth Avenue called Bergdorf Goodman. And I had been painting since the mid 1990s, and I needed a future. And so I went over to 57th Street one evening for a reception at the Bartfield Gallery. And they were had an exhibit of the paintings from Santa Fe of Mr. Clark Hewlings. And I was very much enamored with Clark Hewlings' paintings, met Clark and his wife, Mary. And this fella kept saying to me, oh, put a bid into this box. Go ahead. You know, I figure, hey, I don't have that kind of money. You know, go ahead, put a bid in the box. And then he stands up in the front. He's white haired, mustache, etc. And he gives Clark Hewlings the Distinguished Service Award for the Salmagundi Club. Did I ever know that I was going to be working with this guy for probably the rest of my life? And his name is Tim Newton. So I am down at New York Central buying some brushes and a few other things. And I said, let me go take a look at this place. And I walked in and I said, no, I don't know about this place. This certainly isn't Bergdorf Goodman. You know, there's still titanium white paint on the floor, and the air conditioners are guzzling in the walls and whatever. Is this really for me? Oh, it's an art club. You got to understand it's an art club. So, all right. So Chris Nunley gave me an application, and by September of that year, I'd become a member. They voted me in by my website. So, you know, a lot of it's history. I've been 4 years on the board. I've been on I'm back on the admissions committee. And I have been on the art committee since 2009. And
You are on the program committee.
been on the program committee. Yes.
And
But a short,
don't forget the number.
Jake
Roger?
Pierre and I are working on plein air. Somehow I'll get to Bannerman's Island. But I was on the board for 4 years. I was recording secretary, corresponding secretary, started a mentoring program to get to know all the members and create a relationship. And hopefully with the new team, we'll practice some things like that again. And it's been my life. What can I tell you?
And tell us how you know Gabriel, and then Gabriel, tell us a little bit about yourself, please.
Well, I am very friendly with two of our artist members in the San Diego area. One is Grace Schleicher and the other is Gloria Chadwick. And they recommended that Gabriel become a member. And, we made it happen. He did become a member, and he studied with someone who's going to be in the upcoming Cityscape show with two great paintings by the name of Tom Schaller. So with all of that, we brought Gabriel in. And, I got to tell you, this is the first day that I haven't from Gabriel Stockton. but we welcome him into the club just like we do everybody else. Good.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well,
Are
it's
you a full-time
pleasure.
artist, Gabriel?
I am. I'm a full-time artist. I sell them before I can finish them. I love doing
Wow.
plein air painting. Here in San Diego, it's a great weather for painting outside. I'm also an artist and resident at Balboa Park at the Spanish Village Art Center. I'm also on the board of directors at the San Diego Watercolor Society. I'm the monthly member show director and also the paint manager for the paintouts here in San Diego. And so just like Roger said, I've worked with amazing people like Thomas Schaller, Xuan Lee, Keiko Tanabe. All these wonderful people are out here in sunny San Diego. But I've been kind of just putting it out there that I'd love for a door to open up in somewhere outside of California. And here it is, Salmagundi Club, and I'm ready to be a part. We have some amazing artists here that are already members, and we'd love to get something going, a chapter or whatever that we can do out here to bring more members worldwide to Salmagundi Club.
Thank you, Gabriel. Tatiana, tell everyone about yourself if you can.
Hello, my name is Tatiana. I'm primarily a sculptor, but during this pandemic, I've been doing a lot of oils, which I haven't shown yet. I was trying to complete something for the cityscape, but it did not happen. I have a little girl, and I live in New York. I'm an architect by training, so I'm not don't have many many
How
things
old
to
is
say
your
about
little
myself.
girl?
She is almost 8. She's 7 going on 8. Yeah.
Very
I've been
nice.
busy with her.
Not so little anymore.
not so little. I've been just thinking to myself, she's going to the 2nd grade.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
She's still little. Come on, Bonnie.
I think when I came to
Not very big.
Salmagundi, she was very little.
Okay.
But,
What
Good,
kind of
good.
architecture are you interested in?
I mean, I am. You know Zaha Hadid.
Yeah.
Yes, yes, sure.
I like that style of architecture. I like something more artistic, I guess, because I am an artist and an architect.
I like her too.
So
Great, thank you. Natalie, did you want to talk?
Sure. Hi, sure. So I'm Natalie. I am new to Salmagundi by really a year. So because of COVID, I still feel like, oh, I'm in the club, but in my studio. So I do primarily wood burning. And I came to the club actually through Janatava while working at an event in Surtex with my mentor, an artist that I'd gotten to know through the School of Visual Arts. And Jana was like, hey, I'm a SVA alumni as well. And so you must be an artist. So what do you do? I'm like, oh, I'm an artist. Okay, yeah. Let me show you some of my wood burnings that I do. She's like, you should come to the Salmagundi. Definitely. I'm like, okay, sure. I'm an artist. I can go to the Salmagundi. Awesome. So I'm still in that kind of daydream state of mind. And it's really nice to actually be here and get to see other artists and be able to learn how I can actually share and be a part of such a great club and community. And I'm really looking forward to learning how to own the wonderful title of being an artist. So thank you.
Thank you.
Natalie, don't undercut yourself. Your work is phenomenal.
Thank you. See, I got to get used to these compliments too. I'm like, I'm not used to this. Okay. Thank you.
Margot, did you want to say something? You're on mute, Margot. Margot is a longtime member of the Salmagundi Club. I believe she and her husband were one of the originators of the Greenwich Village Art Show. Is that correct, Margot?
No, I'm unmuted now. No, Carl
Talk
just,
about your history with the Greenwich Art Show, please.
well, first of all, the Washington Square Outdoor Art Exhibit started in 1931, I believe.
Wow.
So that's long before Carl and I were born. So we didn't start it. It was a bunch of bunch of ladies here in Greenwich Village, where we happen to live, who started this. They saw some artists setting up on the street, and they pulled it all together. They worked also with Alfred Barr from MoMA, and he was one of their earliest directors, Alfred Barr, I believe. And it just grew from there. I remember as a student at NYU, I used to walk around and look at the various artists and not buy anything, just look. It was very huge at that time. And then they had about 1,200 artists, Paul said at the beginning. Carl is currently and still the longtime president of the Washington Square Outdoor Art Exhibit. Phil Eisenberg, before him, was the president. Eisenberg, as some of you might know, I don't know, was a member of the Salmagundi Club and a very active board member and a very, he was a VIP at Salmagundi many years ago. He's since passed away. I became a member of Salmagundi. Carl has always gone to Salmagundi throughout. He knew about Salmagundi from through NYU when he was doing what was it, the
window display.
Yeah, window displays. And that's how we got to know Phil. And he used to go, and then when we got engaged, he took me over there to see. And I remember we sat in the parlor and looked around. It was very impressive. And this was in the, this was early on. Then it just so happens that the director of the show at that time, Janet Sumner was also a director. She was also somebody who was well known, and I'm sure most of you don't know, at the Salmagundi Club. You know Janet. And I became a member. Carl was president, and I had a career change for various reasons, and I was free. And unexpectedly, the director died. Peg Moulton was the director of Washington Square. Peg Moulton, yeah. And so Carl came home from a meeting one day and said, they proposed you, why don't you come and be the director of Washington Square and take Peg's place? And so I thought, well, that might be fun because I like art. And my career actually was in retailing. So it's still retailing on the streets. And I had a good time with this. I loved doing it and putting the shows together. I know at some point, I can't see your name, I forgot. It's right over here. You see where I'm pointing? No. You went and you showed at Washington Square.
Alexander, maybe?
No, here. I'm sorry, I forgot you. It's on the third row, the third person.
Kathleen?
Yes.
No.
What? Oh.
Shirley?
I think it's Robin.
Jo Marie, Robin?
I did. Yeah.
Margot
Margot recruited me.
I guess I did, because I would go to other shows and see people and talk about Washington Square. I mean, I always had an application in my pocket, and I was, interested in building it up. It's changed a lot, and unfortunately, they're not having. We have another. John Morehouse succeeded me after I think I was doing that for about 14 years. And John did it for a number of years as the director. And now we have John DeBazzi, who was He's a member of the club and he's a photographer and he's now the director. And Carl is still the president. And unfortunately, we didn't have a show this year. We were hoping to have one for spring, but we plan on being able to have a show in the fall. The city has put all kinds of new restrictions on things, so it was hard for us to get together, but they've said they're going to probably ease up. So we hopefully will have a show. We had no show.
Margot, what kind of work are you showing there now? Is it traditional work?
It's anything, not, I don't know who asked me the question.
Leslie.
Leslie, oh, all right. It's not only traditional, it's all. We have a few very contemporary things. And frankly, when I was doing it, the people who were very abstract, contemporary, they were selling. So it was quite interesting. It was quite interesting. The show, it's gone through a lot of changes. You know, it's shrunk a bit just because a lot of people are now doing things online. But we have quite a strong graphics group, photography group of artists, oils, watercolor. So
is this actually outside or is this that space that you walk down into? It's like a salon space.
It's primarily on University Place now.
Okay.
When I was a kid going to NYU, it was all over the place. But
Right.
It's combined right now. And exactly where we're going to be in the fall, I don't know, on University Place, but how high up or how low.
Too many bicycles.
Yeah, because now we have to deal with bicycle, not me, but Carl and John, they have to deal with the bicycle racks and the huts, the restaurants.
Restaurant huts.
So that's so we have to just,
No
they
place
have,
for the artists to park.
do you hear, Carl? He said there's no, we have a lot of restaurants and you can't be on the block with restaurants. And we have the huts that are in the way because our artists always park pretty much in front of their space. So it's going to be a little bit different. I don't know how different, but a lot of artists want to come back. And Washington Square, from what I understand, is very gratified that they want to come back. So walk around, it'll be there the Labor Day weekend and the following weekend. And if anybody's interested, be happy to get you an application. You can let us know at Salmagundi and Carl or Don.
Do you want to say your email? I'll write it in the chat, Margot.
Oh, my email? Yeah, you can send it to me and I'll see that you get it. My email is Margot Luftig, MARGOT, LUF is in Frank, TIG, @yahoo.com. So if you get it, send me any information you want. I will pass it along and see that you get whatever you want, and I'll answer any questions. Or Carl will answer, or John will get back to you. But you'll hear from somebody here.
Thank you, Margot.
To enjoy. I miss going to the auctions in the club. And so I did a little bit of it on, and I must say I bought a Carol Teller.
Thank you. Margo. Thank you.
I love it. It's hanging up here on our small works wall, which is very hard for anybody to see.
Wow.
So it's here.
Thank you.
I get to look at it a lot, and we really like it a lot too. So and it's a nice thing. But we have a lot of things from Salmagundi. Yeah, but we have a lot of artwork from Salmagundi that Carl collected long before we were married, and what we bought since. The problem was I was asked to do some jurying. I've been a member since I think it was 1995, so I probably been a member longer than you. And I've been on the board, Raja, and I've been the treasurer. So I have a long history with Salmagundi. Not an artist, I'm a layperson. Carl is the artist in the family.
Oh, not a real.
Thank you, Margot. Marcia, do you want to talk about your photography and artwork?
Okay. Well, before I was a photographer, I was a leather sculptor for 17 years and have pieces in 4 collections, one of them being the Museum of Arts and Design. So that was a lot of fun. And then I segued into photography. I had to take a full-time job, and you can't do sculpture and be in a full-time job. You can't do sculpture just on weekends, but you can do photography just on weekends. So I went to a seminar in Italy held by, I can't remember the name of it. Okay. Okay. But anyway, in Tuscany, TPW, Tuscan Photographic Workshops. And it was incredible. It had international photographers, international teachers. It was on one was on a horse farm and the other site was by a sunflower field. And we had an Italian grandmother and a nephew cooking for us. And there were 2 taps in the wall, one for water, the other for wine. And it was very nice. And I got back into photography that way. So I photographed mostly people, and it was in the middle of the series called Becoming Visible, based on the observation that women over 50 become invisible. So I was photographing 60-year-old women and older who were very vital and about to branch out because it was organic. So it turned out to be white women. And I was asked by a couple of places to diversify. So I was I had at least one incredible Black woman to photograph who was 6 feet tall and wore a lot of white and did ceremonies. And she was really, really, she was incredible. And then the pandemic hit and I had no other people except for me. So I did some self-portraits and a couple of still lifes. But now I'm getting out and I have a couple of photographer friends with cars who've been fully vaccinated. So for the past 2 or 3 weeks, I've been out and photographing, and with the face mask coming off, I can actually see people again and people's expressions, and that's very exciting. And so, and I've been a member at Salmagundi for, I think, about 5 years. And it started when I went to an opening with a friend and just felt as if I was in the right place, as if this was my family. And that's when I applied to be a member.
Very nice. Thank you, Marcia.
You're welcome.
June, do you want to say something?
For me?
Sure.
Oh, okay, sure. Thank you. So I live in Jersey City, New Jersey, and I work in Manhattan. I do have a full-time job, but I've been a member of the club. I don't remember dates, but about 8 years now. And I also hung out at the club before I joined. So I was there probably even longer. I remember the first thing I did there as a non-member, I believe, was sat for a portrait for David LaFell, painted a portrait of me. I was his model when he was in town doing a portrait or a demo. So that was exciting. And then I joined, and I've been on the art committee for a while. I'm just like Bonnie said, I just joined the board, which is exciting. So I'm moving in different directions there. I'm on the now I'm a corresponding secretary. What other board? I'm on the admissions committee. I'm on a lot of committees.
Art committee.
So it does keep me busy, and my day job keeps me busy. So I'm pretty busy. I started out in fine art, moved into graphic design. I'm also an SVA alumni in graphic design and advertising. And I chose that school because of Milton Glaser. I remember I walked up to him one day and said, I came here because of you. So that was exciting. Didn't love the graphic design world. So I left and just got back into painting, and I do primarily landscape, seascape, florals. I do plein air, and primarily oil painter.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
What about you, June? Would you like to talk, please?
My experience has been a little bit different. I learned about Salmagundi when I was in college as just one of the clubs and the Center for Cultural Life in New York. And I just had it in the back of my mind for 50 years. And then I was taking an art class in Westchester, and we got a newsletter saying that they were looking for, it was a call for artists from Salmagundi for painting and photography. My husband was doing photography, so I told him about it. He had never heard of Salmagundi, but the name just rang a bell with me. And I thought it would be fun if we could show together. So I submitted a watercolor. It was an abstract called Jungle Morning. And I didn't realize it was a national competition for non-members, but I went to the opening and I was asked to become a member. So I submitted my application and I suggested to my husband that he submit his application also as a photographer. He was accepted, but I was not. And I had submitted a portfolio of abstracts. So the next time around, my husband said to me, why don't you show your botanical art? So I did that and I was accepted.
Right. Makes sense.
So I have been doing botanical art and abstracts for the last 15 years, I guess. And I've shown at Salmagundi the realistic work, and the abstracts I've shown at the National Arts Club and also in Manhattan. And I have a few photographs at the Cornell Medical College. And I showed at the Tibet House when they had a benefit for the victims of the tidal wave that just struck that country. So I had a little bit of showing in Manhattan, but my favorite story was when I showed an artichoke at the auction, and it was sold. And a year later, I ran into the person who bought it. And I thought I ought to do a little market research. Why would somebody want to buy an artichoke? And she said that she just liked it. And I said, do you live near here? Where did you hang it? And she said, no, she lived abroad and she hung it in her apartment overseas. So all of a sudden I became an international artist, which I thought was kind of funny. And then I thought about that artichoke and the story behind it. And I actually published the story in the Botanical Artist. And the story was that my husband brought home two beautiful artichokes from the supermarket. They were absolutely perfect. And I said to myself, I have to draw this. And so I took it up to my studio and I drew it. And there was going to be a show in Boston and that I was going to submit it to. And it was due the next day. And it had to be at the post office at a specific time, framed in a specific way, packed in a specific way, to be received at a specific time. There were very, very strict rules about this submission. And so before I went to bed, I framed the picture and took it downstairs to send off in the morning. During the night, I had a nightmare. I dreamt that I didn't get the shadow right. So in the morning, at first light, I went to look at this artichoke and it wasn't there. And I looked high and low. I could not figure what had happened to the artichoke. And then I realized I had made it for dinner. I ate it. There was no way to check the shadow. But it turned out that I hadn't put the shadow in at all. And so the picture went and was shown, and the article came out of the Botanical Artist.
Fun, thank you, very good. So Alexander, your video and audio is off. If you want to turn it on, that'd be great. If not, it's okay also. Yes, Margot?
You know, I think, June, you ought to take another chance and put an abstract also into the into Salmagundi, into any of the shows or even the auction. You might be surprised. There will be an interest because you get a cross section of people.
Mm-hmm.
Like.
Well, thank you.
So I would suggest you do that since you enjoy painting, you know, abstract.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing but artichoke shadows, though.
Right. No shadows.
So, Jean-Pierre, tell everyone about your paintings behind you, your multi-careers, your adventures daily into the art world.
Well, I've been a member for about 7 years, roughly. I joined because I'd heard of Salmagundi, and I was attending a plein air workshop given by Randall Sexton in Maryland. And one of the attendees was Tony D'Amico, who's an established plein air painter at Salmagundi. And we got to talk about Salmagundi, and I asked him, how do you get in? He said, well, you just get 2 sponsors. And so I applied. I was sponsored by Tony and a friend of my wife, whom I've never met. But I ended up being accepted. I am primarily a film cartoonist. That was my profession for some 30 odd years. I've done everything and anything under the sun in that field, commercial series, feature work, etc. And I have one film, a short, which was acquired by the MoMA, and it's called Flagrant Délit. And it was done with the wife of the guy who wrote Delirious New York, that book on architecture, which was published some 50 years ago, I believe. And that film is kind of quirky, and it was to be featured at a Salmagundi evening prior to the pandemic, but the pandemic struck and my presentation went down the toilet. So other than that, I'm a full-time painter. I paint primarily landscape, plein air, rain or shine. And behind me is a whole bunch of unsold paintings. I also have a self-storage place where I can barely sit a foot in because it's full of more unsold paintings. And why not? So that's my story.
Thank you. So I have a drink here. I don't know if anyone else has a drink, but I thought maybe we could drink a toast. If you guys want to quickly get a drink, or if you have a drink, hold it up so we know who has a drink, and we'll just wait a minute for the other people to get a drink.
I have a drink, but I'm going to put something in my drink. Is that okay?
Okay. Yep. We're going to wait. Go quick.
Bonnie?
Yes?
Yeah, could I ask, I've asked a couple of people, but I'm not sure how it would be practical to do this. I would love to figure out a way that everybody can, or people who want to, can put their name, their phone numbers, and their emails, or at least their email if they don't want to give the phone number, and what they do, a little bit, painter, sculptor, just some.
Okay, well, during the progression of the evening, everybody write their name.
But I don't mean just tonight, I mean the whole club.
Okay. That's on the website. Very easy to find, I believe. If you go to the homepage of the Salmagundi, at the top bar, I think it says members.
Yes, it does.
Click on that, and in alphabetical order.
Okay, yeah.
It's all there.
Can I also say that you can see everyone's name and you can get your phone up and look to see what their work looks like? Because I wanted to see what Marcia's leather work looked like. However, her photographs come up.
Oh, okay.
It's a really easy way.
Yeah, I guess you're right. It's most people give their website
about a person when you see their work,
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Also, like new members too, like my name, like there's no information or anything under me, like if any, like, and I don't know how do I put that up there.
Oh, I
I'd
know
like
how to do it. you need to send Melba an email.
Okay.
In the email, you can include images of your artwork you want included. And you
Okay.
can also include a write-up, you know, like a paragraph or two you want included. And if you have a website, you could put a
Yeah.
link to that.
Did I hear my name while I was gone?
Okay, so I think I wrote a book when I sent my stuff in, but none of that is on the website. It's just my name, and I believe it's 2 pictures, or it says there's a connection maybe to the website, whereas some people have a couple of pictures up and you can sort of get an idea. You don't have to go click again. To their
I'm pretty
website.
sure it's Melba that does that.
Yeah.
So either send her an email or call her. Email is probably much better.
I also think there's a limit on your words. So if it was too long, maybe she didn't know how to edit it. So she didn't put anything.
Oh, my thing, no, it wasn't that long. I'm pretty good.
Oh,
writer.
okay.
Bonnie, I have a question.
Okay.
Because I've been a member for probably 5 or 6 years, and I have worked on an endangered body of work about our endangered environment, wildlife, all of this for over 11 years. And then before that, at least 10 years on human diversity. But every 2 to 3 years, I change the vehicle that I use to speak, the way I present the work. So the work I have on the site is older. It's 5 or 6 years old. How often can we change that work? Do you know?
I believe as often as you want, but nobody is gonna be in charge of fixing it. You have to go and contact Melba yourself.
Okay.
Elizabeth,
Yeah.
Elizabeth, what is your last name? You only have CAST up, because that's kind of like what I'm doing with my work.
Yeah.
How do you spell
Oh, you can't see CASTONGUAY?
I can.
I can.
Yeah, I think it depends on the view
Okay, got
that
it.
you're looking at. Yeah.
All right, so let's raise our glasses and close our eyes for 1 second and think happy thoughts, and now open our eyes and let's drink a toast to each other and friendship and just being alive. Cheers.
Here, here.
I'll toast to that.
To the light.
So just for fun, I wrote a poll. I'm gonna pull it up, hold on. Okay. I'm gonna launch the poll. Are you seeing it?
Yeah.
Okay. If you could have lunch with an artist, who would it be? Just push the button, which artist you want to have lunch with. It's just a funny thing.
Good.
All of them, come on.
You gotta pick one, I'm sorry.
Toulouse-Lautrec.
Vincent Van Gogh, who would want to have lunch with him?
Wait, are we supposed to be able to?
It's just fun.
But
You
are we
know, it's
supposed to
like-
post
I
it?
can't.
Are we
Nothing happens when I click on the button.
Right, me either.
Happens?
Yeah.
No, nothing happens.
Can we tell why?
All right, so let's just talk about it. Maybe I did the poll wrong. So raise your hand. Who wants Alice Neal? I do.
I do too.
Why?
Okay.
Alice
Does
Neal.
anybody have a reason for picking her? I know I do.
I love her artwork, but what about the food she's going to prepare?
Oh,
I mean, she gonna, you know?
Well, I would pick Alice Neal also, and I do love her artwork, but I think the reason I would pick her is because I actually met her like maybe 30 or 40 years ago when I was in graduate school at CW Post College as a fine arts major. Part of my program was organizing an art show. So I decided to organize women in the arts. And she was recommended to me. So I called her up and she said, yep, she'll exhibit a painting in the show under one stipulation. I had to pick it up. So I drove to Spanish Harlem with my boyfriend at the time. We went to her apartment. We chit-chatted with her. We got the painting, brought it to my house for a few days. My dad loved the painting, wanted to buy it, but didn't. And that was my Alice Neal story. She wanted me to model for her, but I didn't.
If anybody is in New York and you haven't seen the show at the May.
Yeah.
Yes, it was wonderful.
Yeah. Bonnie, what was she
Absolutely
like?
magnificent.
What was she like? She was
Yeah.
fun. She was like anybody's grandma. She was very open, outgoing, just really fun.
I love that she was still doing figurative work when all those abstract expressionists were saying, "Pa, that's not what we do," and she did it anyway. And she was also painting old women nude before, and men nude.
Yeah, yeah.
Did
She
that.
always reminded me a little of Sheila, you know, like that sort of dark, sort of spiritual, you know, kind of underworldly kind of thing.
Did anyone else pick Alice Neal for their lunch partner? And do they want to say why they picked her? Margot?
Well, the first time I saw Alice Neal was in the Portraits Gallery years ago of her self-portrait as an elderly lady.
Right.
Naked.
Oh, that's
that-
incredible.
Yes.
Yeah.
in the
And
Met-
it's at the Met. It's at the Met.
in the Met show, yes, we did go. Carl and I went to the Met show before it opened to the public because we're members. And the show was incredible. Many of the works I saw before, I've been following her for years. And I might add that Alice Neal showed in Washington Square Outdoor Art Exhibit. In
Really?
Yes. I found that. I was really excited.
Wait, what year or what decade?
50s.
In the 30s, 1930s.
30s.
Interesting.
Yes. So we've had some famous people have come out of Washington Square. Once Carl and I went, we looked at some microfilm from the archives from Washington, D.C. And it, Beaufort Delaney was another, he was a Black artist, if anybody knows him. Jimmy Baldwin was a great friend of his in Paris because I've read up about them.
You mean James Baldwin, the writer?
Yeah.
Oh, do you call him Jimmy?
Yeah, I knew his sister, Paula. So we worked for the same company. So she looked just like her brother. When I saw pictures of James Baldwin, and I've read many of her books. When I was in college, I took some literature courses, and James Baldwin was one of the people we read in school. So I read some of his books, and then I met Paula, and it was an interesting, So, but Alice Neal has always fascinated me. But some of the others on that list, I'd like to talk to too.
Sure. I think I can guess who Jean-Pierre would like to have lunch with. Would you allow me to guess, Jean-Pierre?
Yes.
Edward Hopper?
No. No, because he was a cranky
okay.
cantankerous. But I would go with Toulouse-Lautrec because he had all the good addresses of the houses of ill repute.
Okay. Thank you.
Oh, I would go with him because he was an avant-garde. He was really ahead of his time, and he was brave. And he left. I read a fantastic biography of him by a woman named Julia Fry. It's out of print now, unfortunately, but it's just called Toulouse-Lautrec: A Life. And he came from a wealthy family, very privileged, very secluded. He broke.
Oh, you're frozen, Kathleen.
Yeah, I'm sorry to hear you.
He broke what?
He broke away from this very traditional family. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, he broke away from this very traditional wealthy family that he came from and made his own way, which of course was difficult for him because of his infirmities and everything. And he was
You're frozen again. Maybe you're having
I'm sorry to hear
issues.
I'm
It's
sorry to
okay.
hear he was cranky, but maybe if we had a drink together, he would be a little less cranky.
Okay.
But Toulouse-Lautrec wouldn't pick up.
At the Strand, maybe. You can maybe find the book at the Strand.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
Toulouse-Lautrec wouldn't pick up the tab.
Pick up
because
the
it's
tab.
always a little short.
He was very short.
Well, maybe we could find a third person to pick up the tab. I don't know.
Yeah.
I can just see Jean-Pierre in Pigalle in front of the Moulin Rouge after he's come down the steps from Montmartre and standing there. That's a rather tawdry area today.
Yeah. There's a great film about Toulouse-Lautrec, by the way. Not the old one with José Ferrer, but
Which one?
A French one called Lautrec.
Oh, really?
It's a wonderful film from late
Netflix?
90s, the late 90s.
Really?
Oh, I'll look for it. I'll look
Yeah,
for it.
it's a great film.
Yeah, the one with Jose Ferrer is.
Yeah.
Does
Yeah.
anyone else want to say who they'd like to have lunch with? It doesn't have to be someone on the list. It could be anyone.
I would like to have lists with a conceptual artist. Somebody, anyone conceptual would be fine. Just
Wow.
somebody that would be sort of thinking outside of the box, and someone, perhaps contemporary artist.
Yeah, well, there's also a fantastic exhibit at the Whitney right now. Julia Mehretu.
Yeah, they have Whitney has free lectures by their interns.
She's amazing. I didn't know her, but she's definitely conceptual and abstract, but she's also incredibly gifted. I mean, she's a great artist. She can draw
architecture, maps.
Yeah.
Tiana, you'd like her.
And there's a great photography exhibit with it, Daoud Bey.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely fantastic.
And Kathleen, there are some videos from several years ago. I think she did a humongous installation downtown at the World Trade.
Really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, I don't know where it is downtown, but I knew it was, I don't remember.
Okay.
But, you can watch her, fix and tweak little things, and she's got these enormous platforms, and it's kind of an interesting thing to watch her work. I'm not a fan of hers, but I would love to have lunch with her.
Yeah, right.
What's her name?
Yeah. It's Julia. I'm not sure I'm saying it's right.
She was in the Times, like in March.
Mehretu. She's Ethiopian.
Yeah, Maratu, I think it is.
Maratu. Okay. It says she's at the Whitney right now. If you go to the Whitney website, you can see. But Daoud Bey is a great photographer, black and white and color. And certainly, I wonder if is Janet here? Is she still here?
I think she had to leave.
She left. Anyway, it'd be so great especially also for the junior members, just anyone to see her. Just amazing. To see him. He's a male. The photographer is a male. Yeah.
What
to that point, like when we did the juniors, when we did the juniors meet just about a month ago at the Museum of Art and Design, it was fantastic. But we found out that we could actually go there for free as Salmagundi members, which is awesome. So is it the same thing at the Whitney? Do I just show my card and say, hey, free for me too? Or I don't know.
I'm honestly not sure. You need to check
try.
with Melba or try. Yep.
Ask for forgiveness, not permission. Like,
Carol, I'd love to know who you'd like to have lunch with.
They have a free night or afternoon or something at the Whitney. All the museums have some free time. So
usually like Tuesdays, I think.
Okay, about the free admissions to museums, there's a list of there's an organization of certain museums that are available. And I forgot what it's called, but we really should make a point of it on the admissions committee of telling people that when you have your Salmagundi card, it will get you entry to certain museums. The Frick is one I know in New York.
Oh, wow.
And there are I forgot all about that, but we really have to make a point of it. Maybe it should be in News You Can Use.
Absolutely need to use.
Yeah.
Write up a paragraph, we'll put it in.
I think that has reorganized.
Maybe,
Haven't they reorganized or something?
Yes, Roger, do you remember the name of that organization?
What you mean with the cards?
Yeah,
it is like a sticker.
There are.
I know we had cards available in the office.
Oh, it's
Joan, you know it?
Yeah, it's it's right on the tip of my tongue.
It's
North American reciprocal
right.
is that's what they said.
That really very good. You got it.
Yeah,
as long as you got the sticker, they said that's all I had to show at the Museum
of Art
and Design.
It's not all. You have to look at online to see which museums they are included. Okay. Now I just want to make a point. Give a plug for that the Washington Square Outdoor Show, because Natalie, I think your work would sell beautifully there. Leslie, I don't know what you do, but it's a great place to exhibit stuff that you wouldn't sell at the Salmagundi. It's much more open, and the public is much more open. The Salmagundi has a very specific identity, but if you want to sell outside that identity, when I was younger and I didn't mind standing outside, it was fun. Now I like to be inside. So I don't do the Washington Square show.
Yeah,
But
I don't know
in
about
my
the
youth,
outside
it was wonderful to do. So Margot, if it continues and you can get the outdoor show alive again, it would be perfect. It's a really great way to show things that you don't, you don't have to worry about people will reject it or not. There's a huge public on the street. It's very different.
That's very true. They regenerate from all the boroughs and also out of towners who are visiting New York.
Very much, and they love the idea of getting a New York artist.
They also, I tell new artists in my past capacity, even though I still walk around and talk to them, you have put your name on a sheet and let other people who they'll sign up, let the public know who you are and where you are. And they come back or they call the office and they ask the director who they tell somebody who they describe the work or they know the name of the artist, and the office will definitely give your name out. So and also I found an awful lot of decorators, designers come walking around looking to buy for their clients to put in their home, or restaurants also. They're looking for art. And
That's right.
Walk around. It's a very eclectic group who come around. Even youngsters. I've heard kids say, "Can we buy that for my room, mommy?" I mean, I start laughing when I hear this, but I actually heard it a couple of times because I was constantly out there, even now I'm out there too. So, but there will be a show if the city is allowing it. There will be a show definitely in the fall, and
I have a quick question to that too. So how do I go about to see more into the Washington Square stuff, to follow?
Square Outdoor Art, WSOAC.org. So there is a website, and you can see. And again, if you want to send me your name, I'll see that the right person, that John gets it, and send you information.
Cool, thank you.
And also they have awards because Roger and I were judges for the show.
They gave awards every fall and spring. So you just bring your work in, and then on the first day of the show, and then the second weekend, you get award. You bring it to the Salmagundi. In fact, you bring your work into Salmagundi, and your work can be, I believe, it's juried, so you can have slides, or how they doing it now online. I'm not quite sure, but it's a jury. It's still a juried show.
Great. So I'm thinking of an artist whose first name begins with A and last name begins with W. Who could name the artist? Just call it out. Andy Warhol and Andrew Wyatt. Great. Okay, next one. JK.
Jack Katz.
No, or not the one I was thinking of. Jeff Koons. MC.
Who? What?
MC.
Barry Cassatt.
Yeah.
Cassatt.
EH.
Edward Hopper.
EM. Edward Munch.
Edward Matisse.
Munch.
Sorry.
Munch. Right. Yep.
Munch.
GK.
Giacometti. No.
Gustav Klimt.
Yeah.
CS. Clifford.
Still.
Yeah.
PC. Paul.
Cadmus.
Say it. Cezanne.
Cezanne.
But Paul Cadmus too.
Paul
Okay.
Cadmus, that's a good pick.
HM.
Henry Matisse.
Henri Matisse.
Yeah. GM. Grandma.
Moses.
JC.
KC.
JC. She was mostly famous in the 70s. She did this really extravagant thing at the Brooklyn Museum.
No, not Jenny Holzer. That's not a C.
Judy.
Chicago.
Yes.
Chicago. Yeah.
Chicago. Yeah.
PP.
Sound.
Pablo Picasso.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, yes.
DR.
DR.
Diego Rodriguez? No.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Diego.
Rodriguez.
Rivera.
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 Yes.
Now,
You said it and I believed it.
okay, now I'm gonna say the name of a famous artwork. Say who you think the artist is and the year. If
Oh.
you don't know the year, just give a broad guess of the year. Sistine Chapel ceiling.
Oh, Michelangelo.
Michelangelo's.
Michelangelo.
Year?
1500s.
1500 something.
Very good. 1508.
Oh, 08.
Night watch.
Oh, that's
Rembrandt.
him. No.
No.
Yeah, Rembrandt.
Right.
Oh, Rembrandt, right.
Wait, I'm thinking of Hoppers. What was the Hopper one?
Nighthawks.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so night watch, guess the year.
1620.
Very close, very close. 1642.
Yeah.
Guernica.
Picasso.
Yep, and guess the year.
1930s.
19.
Very close,
Four,
37. Good.
37.
Mona Lisa.
Hello.
Nat King Cole.
Nat King Cole, yeah.
Okay, guess the
Margot.
year. Yeah, guess the year.
Oh, come on. We should know that by heart. Come on, guys.
1503. Okay. Water lilies.
Hello.
Monet.
Monet.
Claude Monet.
Guess the year.
18
You guys been to the
1910?
garden? Oh my goodness.
18 something.
It was more like 1920.
That was, yeah, that was his last one. He was going blind.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Mhm.
His last.
The Starry Night.
Vincent
Van
Van Gogh.
Guess the year.
That's got to be late 1800.
Yeah,
1910,
1889.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, the Arnolfini portrait, the wedding portrait.
Oh, Ben Sean?
No.
No. Oh,
I
is it the Dutch painter?
in my head, I can't remember.
The Dutch painter, Van Arles Van Dyke?
Very close. Jan Van Eyck.
Van Eyck, right.
Van Eyck,
With the dog
that's
in the
it.
mirror
guess
and the
the-
green.
Guess the year.
1500 something.
16 something.
1434.
14.
Oh my goodness.
Okay, Samson and Delilah. Rubens.
Rubens, yeah.
Guess the
I
year.
don't even want to say it. Rubens?
1609.
1600s, yeah.
4 dancers. Who did the dancer painting?
Degas.
And guess the year?
1880s.
1800s.
Yeah, 1889. Portrait of the artist's mother.
Oh, Whistler.
Whistler.
Yeah, and guess the year?
1880.
Yeah,
These are all the same year.
1871. Yep. The Red Studio.
Babette Studio, that's
The Red Studio.
Red Studio. Gauguin?
Matisse.
Okay. Yeah, right.
Now
Now that you say it, the image
1911.
comes up, you know?
American Gothic.
Oh, come on. I have his book. Ohio.
1930.
Perfect. Yeah.
Grant
1930,
Wood.
Exactly.
Grant
Grant Wood. Okay. The
You're
Campbell.
cheating,
Quick
Elizabeth.
that time.
Keep going, Bonnie. Keep going. We're on a roll.
Okay. The Campbell soup cans.
Warhol.
And
And guess the year?
1950s.
53.
61.
Yeah.
The Dinner Party.
Dirty Chicago.
And the year?
Oh God.
1950s?
1990.
74.
It was
Was
74?
that far back? 74.
Yeah. It sounds
The Last Supper.
Michelangelo.
Salvador Dali.
No, Michelangelo.
Salvador
he did
Dali
one
might have
too.
done a Last Supper, but I was thinking of Da Vinci.
Da Vinci, sure.
I'm sorry.
And guess the year?
Last Supper?
Yeah.
13. No. Is that
Close.
the look?
1398.
Is that Christian art?
Maybe.
It was done with egg tempera.
Gabriel saying yes.
I mean, I've seen it and I don't remember the year. I studied abroad.
Okay.
That's 20, 30 years ago.
The Pieta, the statue, the Pieta.
Angela.
Michelangelo.
And guess the year?
Oh, I don't know.
Same year.
Something?
1498.
Wow.
When I was
Salvador-
a little girl in the 1960s, that statue was at the World's Fair at
That's
Shea
right.
Stadium.
1964.
Yeah, yeah. Okay.
Salvador Dali's Last Supper is at the National Gallery. So I just looked it up really quick because I got my MFA there. 1955. It's a really great piece.
Oh, we'll have to look that up. Thank you.
It is Christian art.
All right.
1490.
Okay.
Yeah.
What about Guernica?
Picasso.
Yeah, and guess the year?
That I don't know.
Yeah,
37, 37. Early Sunday morning,
Oh, Surratt.
maybe, but that's not the one I was thinking of.
Seurat?
Hopper, Edward Hopper.
Oh,
Yeah, that's like a deserted street, I think with a barbershop pole or
Yeah.
something.
Mhm.
That's really funny. I just did that sketch and I forgot the name of it.
Okay, and the year would be 1930. All right, so let's just say which artists we love the best and who maybe influenced our art. I'll start. Henry Matisse. Just go around and just scream it out.
Edgar
Monet.
Payne.
I
Click.
have a lot, but I did an interesting experiment this past couple weeks from Rembrandt. When like 3 weeks ago, I was photographing because I teach life drawing on Saturdays, and I always photograph the work for my artists. So there is a portrait of a woman. They don't know who did it, by Rembrandt. And I took a photograph of it, and of course the title and all the information. And then when I got it into my studio, I blew it up. And if you just catch this cross section, it is so much more contemporary looking. So I have 3 colors that I generally use, and I started analyzing his work. He was a genius. And I would say every 16th of an inch, every plane is a juxtaposition. He uses either a Venetian red or kind of a hooker green side by side throughout the work, every plane. And I've always noticed the warm and cool, but it's been really an interesting study. And as I said, I've never worked from people, and that's who I would love to have had lunch with, Alice Neal, but also I would love to have talked to Rembrandt, because I don't know, I love the way he sees.
He's soulful. He's
So
so
Dutch food is lousy though.
The what? But
Dutch food is lousy.
old raisins and apples and
We'd eat
stuff
somewhere else.
I like Dutch food.
in dark places.
Yeah.
Well, Roger, who's one of your favorite artists, or who influenced your artwork a lot?
I think Claude Monet was one, because I'm a painter of gardens. That was a big factor. And I just like the brush strokes of John Singer Sargent.
Thank you. I see Gabriel's clapping. Leslie, what about you?
We're talking
Actually,
about, like, the history painters, if you will, like Rubens is one of my favorites. And, I always loved Alice Neal. I do like Ben Shahn, although he's kind of cartoony, and I think I've learned a lot from just looking and learning about him. But I also like people like Jenny Holzer, and I love using words in my art. And they're not just there; they're meaning. They're incorporated into the piece. So I love Andy Warhol. I like the simplicity of his work. I'm actually influenced by a lot of people, so it's very hard to, this is my work here, so it's kind of hard to see anybody or everybody in it.
Oh, you have the letters, right? Yeah.
Yeah, and I use encaustics with drawing sometimes, and I mix the mediums up. So, you know, I don't like I find in most encaustic painting kind of cheesy, if you will, and basic. And there are a lot of really great encaustic painters, but I don't really have anyone that I am so in love with that I would put out there and say I'm a fan.
We just got a call from Robert Pillsbury. He wants to talk to you.
Hey, please stop that.
So Natalie, I'd love to know what your favorite artist is or who influences your artwork.
Okay, so that's one that's I'm sure a lot of people would probably assume right away would be Georgia O'Keeffe. I love her work. To be honest, I'm not entirely super familiar with her catalog. I'm a bit of like I don't know many artists. I never really took art history, or I'm from the sticks, like little bumble place, Virginia. And so the actual artist that I was inspired for growing up to want to be an artist was John Howell, the illustrator for The Lord of the Rings, because he was able to create the exact world I imagined on canvas that I could literally see it. And then that became movies and constant inspiration. I was like, that's the job, that's the thing, that's what I want to do. And it's maybe not because I don't draw in that same sense of like fantastical worlds in that way, but I go to the things that I know, which is nature. And because that was my museum growing up, was climbing trees, and the animals that I saw were my thing. So that's where, yeah. So but when I was at the School of Visual Arts, my first teacher asked me that, was like, nope. Yeah.
What about you, Robin?
Well, I have Charles Birchfield. I love Charles Birchfield. When I first came to Manhattan, there was a show in the original Whitney on Madison, and it just like, his work just looks like fireflies all over the place. It just was so very magical. And I know he dealt with pastels and watercolors and some oils, and mainly were landscapes and things, but he just was just an unusual artist. So
I love that you said Charles Birchfield. We saw a show about just before COVID times down in the 17, down where all the galleries are, in the sort of in Tribeca. And it was a very small gallery, and his work is amazing.
Yeah, he's little known. It's just, yeah, he's just special.
Is your work like that?
I just try to be whimsical. I'm still in development. So I started at the Salmagundi back in the 90s, originally as a photographer in the open show. And I was on the board then, and then always studied at the Art Students League in the National Academy. And then left for a while because we had started at the Salmagundi billiard team with, I started with a fellow who unfortunately has passed on, and I got recruited at the New York Athletic Club and the snooker team up there. So I left the Salmagundi, and then I returned to the Salmagundi, and I got in as a painter member in, I think 2007. So I started in the 90s, and that's how I know Margot for a very long time. And Phil Eisenberg, I have one of his awards for my photography, and he was a lovely man. And Ken Fitch, and Tom Picard. So all of that original crew. And I go back a long time with Priscilla McCarthy and Pam Singleton. And but now, like I said, I left to go play snooker and billiards in tournaments up at the New York and NYAC, and returned now in the Salmagundi. So, and I do monotypes, and but I'm still in progress. So
what inspires you guys to paint or draw or whatever you do? Do you go to the store and buy some new flowers? Do you go and buy some fruit? Do you thumb through magazines? Jean-Pierre, what do you do? Because I know you paint every day. How do you find your inspiration? What do you think about?
I
How
just,
do you figure it out?
I just, you know, jump out of bed and see something, or I step outside and see something else, and that's it. You know, I'm not a cerebral kind of guy. You know, I'm just a visual person, and if I'm driving, I dictate to my notes. Nice bridge in Riverside at the corner of Main and Maple Street. And then I remember some spots like that. But other than that, I strictly shoot from the hip. You know, I take my gear, I walk around, I see something, set up, paint, go home.
Can I say something? I'm so afraid that I'm going to be stuck in a void. So I am constantly reading. I have a stack of books that I am always reading. And I have one here too. And I get art newspapers. I don't know if you guys get these art newspaper feeds, and some of them are about who sold what and who did what. And I try to stay away from that because it bores the heck out of me. I prefer to look to see what people are reading, like curators are reading. And I found a very inspiring book called The Patterning Instinct, which the person who is one of the curators at the Tate Museum in London suggested. It's fabulous. I highly recommend it. And it's very inspiring.
Could you just say the author, please?
Yes, certainly. The author is Fritjof, Fritjof Capra, Kapra.
Thank you.
Yeah, and so, you know, I think by picking up different mediums and sticking with your main medium, those other mediums can inspire you because it makes you think about the medium that you're using now and how important it is that you're using the medium for, you know, for art's sake, for its sake. Like if you're, or, you know, you can combine them, you'll learn how to combine them, which is what I do with the photography that I do.
I think Gabriel wants to talk. Go ahead, Gabriel.
I actually would like to piggyback off of both of those, off of Jean's and Leslie's. You know, there's times I'm just out driving around or just going for a walk and I'm painting. How would I paint that? And then I dream quite a lot when I'm sleeping, right? And there'll be times that my spirit just kind of wants to gravitate to a place that maybe I've thought about painting, and I see it right in my mind's eye. It kind of pulls me. It's like gravity. And when I get there, maybe there might be a different boat there, or maybe there's something. So I kind of sit there and wait for something kind of magical to speak to my spirit. And then I'll do these little like sketches, or I'll take some kind of time to think about composition. And then I allow, while I'm painting, just the mixture of paint to come to the tonal value of what my spirit and what my eyes are kind of seeing today. So it's a little bit of like note taking as I'm around town, but also some intuitive spirit speaking, where it's like I'm having more of that experience with not just my technical aspect, but also just who I am.
Interesting. Thank you, Gabriel. So during the process of painting, if you're painting and you sort of don't like how it's coming out, what do you do to make it better? Do you turn the painting upside down for a different angle? Do you put it in front of the mirror to see it differently? How do you like fix it? Or maybe you just wait a week and come back to it?
You make it dynamic? I can answer that.
Okay, go.
I mean, you have to understand yourself. Sometimes I go to the studio and it takes me an hour to even start. And so then, you know, sometimes you're thinking about halfway through and you don't know what to do, so you have to leave and come back. My studio is way out in the woods, so I go down, I have a soda, I sit with my chickens and my bees, and I think I read or whatever, and I go back up, and maybe something will come of it.
Nice.
What do you do?
Sometimes I turn it upside down. Sometimes I take a picture of it with my cell phone and look at it.
So what is upside
Sometimes I
down?
take it and hold it up at the mirror and it looks different.
So Bonnie, are you an abstract painter?
I consider myself more in the Fauvist mode. No, I don't think.
Fauvist, like a color painter?
Yeah, yeah.
I see. So for me, and probably for Jean-Pierre, turning the painting over might not work.
Oh,
You know
it
what I
does
mean?
work.
It does work?
It does work, yeah.
How does that work?
It's when you paint a building and you turn the painting upside down or take a picture and mirror it, you see all that's wrong with your perspective, and you know, you can fix it right away.
Yeah, I don't
Either
work.
that, or you ask my wife and she'll say, "This is a great painting, but it's crooked here and there."
Yeah.
So I like crooked paintings. That's what I like about paintings.
Yeah, me too.
The part that the imperfections, you know, the little
It's-
white line that a lot of people
Yeah.
say, oh, that doesn't work. And that's the part that speaks to you, that, you know, you can overwork a piece too.
I agree with you wholeheartedly.
Yeah.
Gabriel wants to talk. Go ahead.
I think it's like playing a game of darts, you know? You throw these darts at this dartboard, and you see where you hit the dartboard, and it's okay. You're just gonna, next game, you're gonna have a you know, bring your A game just a little bit better next time around. I love revisiting places at Balboa Park. It never gets old. I'm doing a commission right now for a lady of the lily pond, and I found a new paint color I like that's really granulated. And you know, here's the California Tower now with this beautiful granulated, and I'm forcing myself to paint with a square now, so just kind of changing up the variables a little bit when I revisit another spot.
Very cool.
Great. So this has been a really fun evening, and we should try to wrap it up. Jean-Pierre, would you be?
Say one
Oh,
thing?
wait, Elizabeth, go ahead.
Yeah, as to Natalie, I would just, it's Natalie, right? There's a little D on there. When you were saying you haven't taken a lot of art history, I've taken a lot of art history. But I must say, I've been painting since I was 8, and I've stuck with the same 2 things my entire life, really, about human diversity and the biodiversity of nature. And it's just about how every couple or 3 years do I re-see this for my viewer to see it in a new way. And I can tell you the greatest artist is Mother Nature. So
amen. Yeah. And in that same sense, like
what you're saying is you want to reinvent yourself every once in a while so that you're not stuck in a void.
And to answer the both previous questions, like, okay, why do I do, and like, okay, the realist answer for me is why I work. And when I'm suicidal. So I work because if I don't, you know, these are the things I live for. So if I can get out of bed and try to make something positive in this world, because, you know, I feel for my world is dying. You know, my last name is Woodson. I burn on wood because it's dying, you know, it's taken for granted. And, you know, I'm put animals in art galleries because they're the most beautiful thing that we have to offer. And why not put it beside a Monet? Why not break the barriers, bring them inside? And I'm not selling my pieces because I feel ridiculous, because I will spend all the money that I have to put this out there. And if somebody buys it, and I have a lot of people that are, you know, the kind that kill these animals and this hunting mentality in that sense, and they don't get it, so you can't have it. And I don't care what price, I'll buy my own pieces because it's more about the meditation.
Now, can you put your email up? Can you put your email up? I love your perspective. I think you're so right on. I really do.
Thank you.
No, I really do.
And I have my info in the chat.
I
Thank
can
you,
write
Amy.
it in the chat. Just tell me what it is.
It's Natalie, NATALIEWDSN @gmail.com.
WADSN.
Writing it.
WDSN, Woodson without the O's because I don't owe anybody anything anymore.
Jean-Pierre, can you give us some closing?
Natalie, you're at what? What are you at?
Natalie at WDSN @gmail.com.
Gmail,
I
thank
put it in the chats, so like information's in the chat box.
So sorry, I can't find it.
It's okay. Yeah, the Zoom thing's a little like.
I got it. I got it.
Jean-Pierre, can you give us a closing remark of inspiration?
Well, my inspiration is the Ashcan artists, among others, Guy Pendubois, who wrote this great book. No reflection on the discussions tonight, but this is a great book. And he was a fine painter. He realized that his classmates, Edward Hopper and such, George Bellows, were better than him, so he stopped painting. And he became an art critic for the New York Times for a number of years. And at the same time, he acquired a certain philosophy about art. And I happen to share his outlook. Now, this guy obviously is no longer with us. And when you read this autobiography, which I bought at some garage sale, it's incredible because he met Cézanne when he was a kid with his parents in France. And he tells you the quirks of all these guys because he went to school with them. He tells you how Hopper was behaving at the art students' wing or wherever they were studying. So it's a lot of fun. And at the same time, he doesn't take himself seriously. And that's another thing I really appreciate. Maybe it's my cartoonist background, which makes me very serious at not being serious. And at the same time, I absolutely respect all the artists' standpoints, approach, philosophy. It's very humbling. I also happen to think that every artist is vain. And I do not know of any artist except maybe Natalie Woodson, who is not vain. And the minute you become an artist, you are a representational artist. You're like a pianist giving a concert. You're like a guy on a stage. If you're a painter, if you want to be a painter, you show your stuff, which means that you are vain. And there's nothing wrong with being vain, because if you don't want to show your stuff, why bother?
What's the book again?
It's called Artists Say the Serious Things by Guy Pendubois. That's his name. He was from New Orleans. So
have you read The Indignant Eye?
No.
You would love The Indignant Eye, a professor in college. And I lost the book and I bought another one. Okay. And now I have two, so I can send you one.
Sure.
No, cartoons, political cartoons. It's wonderful. You would love it.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. So got all the greats.
Great. All right, everybody. I'm going to say good night. It was a great evening. It was fun.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you so much,
Bye.
Connie.
Thank you, everybody.
Turn your painting around. Turn your painting around.
Thank you. Bye-bye. It's just great.
Bye.
Bye-bye.